Kenny,
Packy? Whoa, wait, that's actually not a good word. Pakman, what's up?
how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Oh man, are we not friends anymore?
That's to be determined. We'll know by the end of this conversation, I guess.
Yeah, well, the conversation may be shorter than you might think.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, no,
What's
so
up?
listen, here's the thing. Mike, I'm going to cut right to the chase. It's just like I'm worried that you're kind of falling into a kind of depressive black and white thinking
Mhm.
where any dissent will not be tolerated. You are looking to have problems with people on the left as part of this whole like the left is going, I can't stand the left and all this different stuff. When it's like, it's not even clear to me we have big disagreements necessarily about this case, but it seems like either for lulls or because of something that you've got going on, which I would want to explore, that I'm worried about you.
I mean, we can talk about any of the specific disagreements that I have if you think that I am just hating the left. But I think that all of my disagreements so far with the way that people have talked about this case,
Yeah.
I think have been pretty on point. I think they've been very substantive. But I mean, if you want to point,
Substantiative. Now that's it. We
yes,
should explore that. What does that mean?
like if you substantive, I think I'm pronouncing it right, means that you have a disagreement, but it has something with substance. There's
I
like a
see.
basis and important fact there. It's not just like oh, I'm mad because I don't like this person or whatever, right?
I gotcha. Um, Let me ask you this. Your tweet
Mhm.
last night about me being on copium and with the F bomb, does that not seem a little hyperbolic to you?
No, I'm actually like really triggered by the amount of misinformation that a lot of people are spreading relating to the case.
Okay.
So your tweet had said um, that the Rittenhouse defense seems rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is into its 15th hour and have now demanded a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence.
Yes.
This tweet is so unbelievably not even remotely resembling reality.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
We don't know if the defense is rattled, right? We don't know one way or the other. I'm giving an opinion. It's not a question of whether it's based in reality. It's my opinion is that based on the way that do you remember, I don't know, have you watched the entire trial or have you watched clips of the trial?
I've not the entire thing, but I've watched many, many hours of it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's been parts that I've missed, but
Did you see when there was a lot of discussion about the jury instructions?
I don't know if I've seen that part. No,
Okay.
why?
If you haven't seen that, you would be unable to adjudicate my tweet. My
Well,
tweet.
so here, well, I can tell you what's wrong about your tweet without having seen that, and you can tell me if I'm missing something. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So you're saying that because the defense is rattled by the fact that jury deliberation is in its 15th hour, that they've now demanded a mistrial. So the mistrial request, they had already requested a mistrial with prejudice before jury deliberation even began.
You're absolutely correct. Now, can I add something to that to understand
Go
it
for
even
it.
further?
Yeah.
The defense asked for a mistrial with prejudice a while
Mhm.
ago
Yep.
for two reasons. One, that they felt Binger's question to Rittenhouse about not having given his account was a violation of his Fifth Amendment right, number one. And number
Okay.
two, they requested the initial mistrial with prejudice over what they said was Binger asking about something that the judge had already said not to ask about. So that's a request for mistrial with prejudice for those two reasons. Yesterday, the defense asked for a mistrial, knowing it would be without prejudice, because it's now a different thing,
Mhm.
because they didn't want the jury to see video, what's described as question 5, which is the
Mhm.
drone video,
Mhm.
by introducing heretofore unmentioned allegations about they got a different version and sort of implying that Jim Krause deliberately sent a lower resolution version, which can be adjudicated, right? We can that it may, I'm not even arguing as to the truth or falsity of that. These are
Okay.
two different mistrial requests for
Mhm.
different reasons, one with prejudice and one without. So it doesn't stick to say they asked for it before. Yes, they asked for a different mistrial for a different reason before.
Do you understand that? So, in this hyper ultra nuanced form of events, I can kind of believe you, except, well, now the last part of your tweet is not really accurate either.
But
So
hold
you're
on, now
saying that
you're
there,
moving on to something else.
well, hold on, no,
Hold
no,
on,
no.
hold on.
I'm still in your original tweet. So, because even if I buy everything you said there, the last part of your tweet was they want a mistrial over an exhibit that is already in evidence. They're not. It's not about them asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. They're asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that they received a lower quality version of. That's significantly different than what you're implying in this tweet.
So let's see. Let's take it piece by piece. First of all,
Okay.
I disagree with that characterization, but I'm wondering if
mine is just correct, but okay.
I wonder if you've noticed that you're moving on. You've not acknowledged that the first thing you said was just flat wrong. Can you just directly acknowledge that statement you made? Hold on. Let me ask the question.
Okay.
Can you acknowledge that you said they already asked for a mistrial with prejudice? I told you that was a different request for different reasons. Can you say, you know what, David, you're right. That part I was wrong on.
I'm not wrong on that. There have been 2 different requests for a mistrial. My problem isn't whether or not there has been 1 or 2. My problem is that if I take your tweet as a totality, your tweet is basically saying like, wow, they're asking for a mistrial just because the jury's deliberating for 15 hours. And they're doing it over a piece of evidence that has already been submitted.
Let me see if I can ask it a different way. That tweet, do you concede that my tweet is about a particular mistrial, the one that they asked for yesterday, and not the one that they asked for 10 days ago? Can you acknowledge that there are 2 mistrials, and I'm only referring to one?
Yeah, I can acknowledge that, but the problem is that the second part of your tweet then is still not correct. They're not asking for a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. That's not really what's being asked. It's about the fact that they were given a video that was of lower quality than what was actually submitted into the court.
Fine.
In the pretrial.
Fine. So I will stipulate to that. I concede that my tweet is my opinion. Saying that my opinion is wrong is different than copium with an F-bomb when I've said all along I believe it will be not guilty.
That has nothing to do with guilty or not. Your tweet is just wrong. It's incredibly misleading.
It has everything to do with guilty or not guilty.
No, it doesn't. You're trying to make it sound like they're asking for a mistrial because they're nervous about jury deliberation, and they're doing it for not a good reason. An exhibit that's already in evidence? Why not add an exhibit where they were provided a lower quality version of this before going to trial?
It is not even clear that that's what happened. I'm not taking a position on that because it was a shit show in court when Jim Krause is saying one thing, Miss Wisco is talking about Gmail, Richards is talking about the dates. They don't agree on exactly. I'm not taking a position one way or the other on that. My point is...
You're wrong in what you said. It's incredibly clear what's happened. They received a lower quality version of that file. I don't know if you watched what happened after the break. I know you did, but it is clear what's happened. The defense, this particular defense, got a lower quality version of the video than what the prosecution was using. That part is clear. There's no mystery there.
I am not denying that they ended up seeing a lower quality version. What I am calling into question is, given that they knew that days ago, that they had the idea from the jury instruction debate, particularly Richards was asking questions that made them believe, it's conceivable that the jury is going to go right back there. They're going to go around the room and they're going to say it's not guilty on everything for self-defense, and that's going to be it. That has not happened.
Wait,
hold on a second. But I can't even get my...
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Okay. You're getting points out, but they have nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know what that has to do with what we're talking about.
It does have to do with what we're talking about because the initial... See, we've got like it's like a fractal branching. Are you familiar with fractals?
Yeah, but I don't think that this has, like, in terms of what you're talking about for that piece of evidence, like, this was a motion that they filed on Friday. This was before jury deliberation even began. I don't know why we're talking now about, like, when the jury rules if they'll rule guilty or not guilty. Like,
man, I don't know. So now we're like 5 layers removed where we have to sort of go back. The reason by the way, I'm echoing now. I don't know what's going on over there.
You're not what now?
I'm echoing back. I'm hearing myself. Okay, now it stopped.
Okay.
Now let me see if I can get it. I just don't even know that this is productive because now we have to go back 5 levels.
Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I can't let you do this, okay? Because now I have to move to debate mode, okay?
I'm not allowed to do anything. I'm not allowed to speak.
You've been speaking, okay? But I can't let you keep trying to obfuscate your factually incorrect tweet by saying, oh, we're 5 levels deep. Oh, we're talking about irrelevant shit, blah, blah, blah. No, 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 no. Very clearly and very pointedly, your tweet was heavily implying that the only reason, or a big reason, why the Rittenhouse defense is asking for a mistrial is because they're rattled by the fact that the jury is deliberating in its 15th hour. And they want a mistrial over an exhibit that's already in evidence. One, this particular mistrial without prejudice was submitted before the jury deliberation began. They realized this on Friday, number one. And number two, it's not about an exhibit that's already in evidence. It's about them receiving a lower quality thing. Now, you tried to hand wave that and go, well, we don't know what happened. No, we do know what happened. They talked about it. He said that in the process of them emailing it over, there must have been this thing got converted into a lower quality file and sent blah, blah, blah. We know what happened, right? That's what happened. So none of this is confusing. Your tweet is just incredibly misleading.
Hey, you know what? You're right.
Okay.
You convinced me. You're right.
Okay, well, is there anything else you want to chat about, buddy?
So we both agreed not guilty is probable?
I have no idea. It's a jury trial. Anything can happen. I have no idea. There could be one holdout right now. It could be a 6-on-6 deadlock. They might be disagreeing over some of the lesser charges. Maybe I have no idea. Anything can happen. It's a jury trial.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm really glad we cleared it all up. I didn't realize how wrong I was until you came on today.
It's do you think that the judge is wacky? Do you think he's displayed a clear bias in this case?
I mean, I think that the judge is kind of a doofus.
Why?
And I think that the judge is not like out to get the prosecution. He's not out to get Kyle Rittenhouse off. But I do think that there are instances where he seems, I mean, listen, in terms of the optics, he interrupts and doesn't allow the prosecution to like even finish what they're arguing regularly.
Wait, hold on. Why do you think that is?
I'm guessing you think it is because the prosecution is doing things wrong, right?
Okay, well, my understanding is that if the judge feels like the prosecution is going down a line of questioning that he doesn't want them to go down.
I'm not talking about the lines of questioning. I'm saying even when the jury isn't in the room and they're arguing a motion, he doesn't even allow the prosecution frequently to even finish their perspective on what it is. And I've seen him interrupt the defense once in 2 weeks.
I totally disagree with that. There have been motions where the prosecution has won on it. They've successfully argued their point and the judge has allowed things to stand. Like
You're now arguing a different point than the one I'm talking about.
Okay, the implication of your point is that the prosecution is getting cut off more than the defense, or that the defense is winning more motions than the prosecution?
Those are two different things. I agree with you that there were some motions that the defense's position was just wacky on. Obviously, the judge is not going to give every motion to the defense. So there's no doubt that you're right. There are motions where the judge has sided for the prosecution. They were obvious motions. If you looked at the legal analyses, there's no controversy there. The point I was in the middle of making when you went to a different point was on the optics and the way that the judge is relating to the two sides. He's interrupting and admonishing the prosecution regularly, whereas I saw him do it once with the defense. Now, that's a different point from whether you want to argue any particular motion, which I'm glad to do, if we even care to. I mean, at this point, it seems like water under the bridge.
I don't understand. I guess so the first part is, I don't know why we're talking optics. We're in court. This isn't about optics or what looks best on like a Twitter headline.
You brought up my opinion of whether the judge is wacky or whatever. That's about optics.
Well,
it's not just about decisions.
So my problem isn't you saying the judge is wacky. My problem is you saying things like the judge is turning the trial into a farce.
I think that if you compare, listen, if you watch the trial over the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, you have an extraordinarily measured judge. He's not putting on a show. He's not telling stories for the camera. He doesn't seem to be relishing being on camera every day, but rather wants to be as minimal as possible. He is being clear when the defense attorney starts talking about Colonel Sanders and whatever. He says, listen, I didn't even ask you to do this. In comparison, You have the judge in the Rittenhouse case who's singing, telling stories, referring to a juror, a black that he had, regularly ranting to the prosecution and defense lawyers, but he's talking about the media. He's really like on TV. He's just doing a TV. It's
Okay,
wacky in that sense.
Yeah. Okay. So firstly, if we want so for the first point, if we want to talk about him admonishing the prosecution more than the defense, we need to show that this is actually unwarranted, which I don't think you'd ever be able to do. We can go back to any of the times he has, and it seems like every time he has, most people that are watching agree that, like, yeah, or most people that are watching with a clear mind agree, yeah, the prosecution was out of line here or here. As you said before, there have been times where the defense has lost on certain motions and the prosecution has won on. So it doesn't seem like it's like an evidence of clear bias or he's interrupting the prosecution more. He just does it when he feels like they're out of line, or especially when he needs to cut the prosecution off before the jury is able to hear something. Number one. Number two, when you say putting on a show or stories for the camera, I mean, like, judges do this sometimes. I don't know if we think that every judge is like Law and Order or like I don't know, some crazy like hardcore trial.
So you're agreeing he's doing it. You're agreeing he's doing it, but you're saying it's fine.
Yes, the problem.
Okay, that's your opinion.
No. Oh my God, no. Holy shit, you're so dishonest, okay? The problem is you're not just presenting this as he's doing it. You're presenting it as he's doing it, and then you're saying it's way out of line, or that it's wacky, or that he's putting on a story for the camera. There are plenty of judges.
You just agreed he's doing it.
We're not talking about whether he's doing it. We're talking about whether your characterization of him doing it as being wacky or out of line is fair.
But hold on a second. Hold on a second, Steven.
Wait, hold on. I didn't even finish responding to all the things you said. I wrote them down so that I could get them all out, okay? So there are lots of judges that will tell stories or jokes or whatever in the courtroom. There are judges that will dress you down. If anybody's been to court before, you will get made fun of or forced to postpone your trial date if you show up or an initial hearing. If you're not dressed appropriately, a judge will throw you out of a courtroom sometimes. Like, different judges do things in a ton of different ways. Not every judge is going to be this hard line, like, we're here, here's the process, I'm not going to say anything. Like, this absolutely happens from courthouse to courthouse. To say that a judge is telling stories, therefore it's like wacky or it's turned into a farce or whatever, is a totally unfair characterization. The idea that he's relishing for the camera, you have no proof of that. You don't know how this guy has run trials in the past. You don't know if he's relishing for the camera. That's an unfair characterization as well. To take his whole story about why he has defendants draw things from a whatever that jar was or whatever, and then your only takeaway from that is he called somebody a black. Like, okay, that's also like, Jesus, we're reaching.
I even said, I mean, but Steven, you know, here's the problem I'm having with this, Kenny. Man, it's like, how do I even? So, you know, there's projection here. There's, you know, you're accusing me of I'll explain. You're accusing me of dishonestly and narrowly framing things that you're saying. But even in what you just said, I did an entire clip saying the judge's explanation about why he had Rittenhouse draw the numbers is eminently reasonable. I agree with it. I think it's perfectly reasonable. And his bizarre, it was a black thing, made me laugh, and it's really wacky. And you dishonestly just acted as if I said the entire thing was illegitimate. That never happened. It never happened.
You characterize it as him making the trial a farce. I mean, like, what is the impression there?
My impression of the judge is that the guy is farcical. He's a goof. He's wacky. That's my opinion. You can disagree, but where I'm having a problem is you seem unable to just be like, oh, someone has a different opinion and it's essentially meaningless to either of our lives, but I feel the need to go completely bonkers and like attack people and use the term copium. Like, I'm just wondering why you have this tendency. It has nothing really to do with the trial. It's like, I think the guy's wacky. It's just my opinion. What's the big deal?
This defense is unbelievable to me. So
it's not a defense. I'm trying to understand where, like, is it content? Is it just content?
Like, no, you're saying none of this is content. Okay. You're basically saying like, LOL, this is all just a big meme. That's like what you're saying, right? But this isn't just a big meme. People look to online commentators to get their opinions about how the trial is going. My worry about, I don't know why you're saying, oh God, is some part of that unbelievable to you? That people watch people online to get their opinions about the ongoing of this trial? Did you disagree with that?
I don't disagree that people watch content to learn about things. I agree with that.
Okay, I don't know what prompted that response then, right?
No, I'm just saying that part I agree with. Please proceed, Governor.
Okay, so the issue is that if it does come out that Rittenhouse walks on every charge, there's going to be a whole lot of left-leaning people in this country who are going to feel like, wow, of course it was. It was a white nationalist, white supremacist supporting judge who was making racist jokes about Asians and blacks, who turned the whole trial into a farce, who was constantly supporting Rittenhouse and unfairly interrupting the prosecution. These are the takes that most people are getting regarding the trial, when the reality is the trial has been pretty standard. The judge hasn't displayed any insane, out of character behavior. There hasn't been any like mess up of the process that's so wrong. But a lot of people are walking away with this opinion because of commentators like you that make statements like this.
So let me ask you then,
yeah,
white supremacist judge, that rant, right? If we just quote that, I never said any of that stuff. So why are you mad at me about stuff I never said?
You haven't said the white supremacist, but you're playing into this overall narrative that the judge is wacky and farcical and is doing things that are unbecoming of a judge or inappropriate in a courtroom. Or
I think that's an incredibly myopic and trivializing interpretation of 100 hours of coverage that I've done.
So you think that, I'm curious then, and I'm super curious, if you were to poll your audience and you were to ask them, do you think that this judge has been fair equally to both sides of this trial? Do you think the majority of your audience would be like, yeah, he's been pretty fair?
I have no idea what my audience would say. My opinion is that on the decisions, the judge has been slightly favorable to the defense. That's not like a crazy extreme position. I think the judge's decisions have been slightly favorable to the defense. I mean, that's considered nuts now?
That's not how it comes across, but like,
we're doing an entertainment show with opinions. It's like you're acting like we have to be, hey guys, I believe 53-47 the judge, and I'm not going to editorialize anything. If the judge does something funny, I'm going to laugh at it.
Is this all just a bit then? Is it all just entertainment?
It's not just entertainment, but this is sort of like when, what's that? Oh God, what is that guy's name? Carl Benjamin. What was that guy? What does that guy go by?
Sargon of Akkad.
Sargon of Akkad. This is like when Sargon of Akkad and I were arguing because he felt my titles were clickbait. And I explained to him, I'm picking titles that are not lies, but that will make people more interested to see what I'm saying. It's like pretending this isn't what we do. It seems very dishonest to me.
I guess I don't view, when I'm covering like news related stuff, I don't view it as just entertainment. But I guess if you do, that explains a difference in, I guess, like what we're looking for in terms of. That's called
a straw man. That's called a straw man because now you're ascribing to me something I never said.
Okay. I might be wacky. Maybe but it sounded to me like just early you said that what I'm engaged in is entertainment. Is that, did I misread you? Or you can restate that, I guess, if I misunderstood.
Is the mechanism through which we build an audience that there's a component where people go, I'm entertained by this, so I watch it in addition to being informed? Like, is that crazy? Are we arguing about like what is water at this point?
There is some level of entertainment, of course. But
that's what I'm saying.
I think you have to balance that out with not like mischaracterizing or misleading people.
So the balance is, I'm not saying any of the things you ascribe to me about a white supremacist judge or any of it, but all else being equal, I'm trying to make an entertaining show.
But do you think that entertaining show can come at the cost of giving like a fair and balanced view of what's happening in the courtroom?
I think it absolutely can, and I don't think that that's what's been taking place with my coverage.
You think it can come at that cost?
I think that, of course, it can. We can find examples of anything, yeah.
I'm not talking about just finding examples of anything. So my guess, and I could be wrong, and I'd be interested to do this poll sometime, although now it might be tainted because people hate me in your audience, but like, if you were to have asked before this conversation, do you think the judge is being relatively fair and impartial to both sides for this trial? My guess is that 85% of your audience would say no, that he's disproportionately favoring the defense.
You're saying if I would have done it absent any of my commentary, or what do you mean? Or
no,
like yesterday?
I'm saying before our conversation. I think the vast majority of your audience would say, no, the judge is absolutely being unfair. And I think that is the mainstream opinion right now in a lot of like left-leaning media coverage, and then across Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube with people watching this. So
is it possible that it's the right opinion?
It is, but I haven't seen anything to substantiate that, because it seems like when you're pushed on it, you do admit, yeah, he's been pretty fair for everything. So it seems like that
I didn't admit that. See, I think the problem is like, I don't know. You're misstating every single thing I say. You're either trivializing it and minimizing it or expanding it rather than just dealing with what I'm actually saying.
Okay, I thought you said something along the lines of the judge for the most part has been fair. Maybe there've been a couple times where he's favored the defense, but it sounded like
What I've said is, on optics and the way that he runs the courtroom, I think the judge is wacky and doofusy and off color and all those different things. In addition, separate from that, in terms of the decisions he's made, I think his decisions have favored the defense, while he has made decisions that individually are sometimes for the prosecution, sometimes for the defense. It's just you seem to be, because I'm not speaking hyperbolically, you seem to be interpreting it as me saying there's nothing to talk about here. I think the judge has been favorable to the defense, but not 99-1.
Sure. I'm curious then, I guess, since now we're going to take a hyper-nuanced point. Like, in what case do you think he's favored? Do you think he's favored the defense in a fair way or an unfair way?
I think that there are examples of him favoring the defense in an unfair way, and I can give you an example if you would allow it.
Sure. I'm curious. What do you think about that?
I'm predicting you're going to focus in on the prosecution sent the defense a blurry video. I'm going before that. Okay, so think back before that latest thing happened. I believe that the defense has been able to take advantage of the judge's technological incompetence by introducing arguments about pixels, algorithms, logarithms, etc., put the prosecution in a position to basically have to try to explain to a guy that doesn't understand any of this why everything is okay. And the judge is simply, out of incompetence, erring on the side of accepting what the defense says, assuming the prosecution is doing tricky things with exhibits, when it's really just the defense using the judge's technological incompetence to their favor.
Okay. I don't know what your background is in terms of how involved you are with the video stuff that goes on for your broadcast, but the judge had an absolutely perfect understanding of the potential issue that could come up. That ruling was incredibly fair, and he didn't even necessarily rule against the prosecution. He just said that if you want to present an evidence in this manner, you need to have an expert witness on hand to do it.
That's the case only with one piece of video, but there were endless instances. Okay, go on.
No, it wasn't the issue with the video. It's that they wanted to take a video and manipulate it in the courtroom. If they wanted to have a zoomed video, they should have submitted that as evidence in the pretrial, not tried to manipulate the video in the courtroom for the jury to see. That's a different thing.
Yeah. I just don't. I mean, listen, you're arguing that a guy who looked dazed and called pixels pickles had a perfect understanding of the technology that's at play. It's like, I feel like we're talking about, what are we talking about?
Hold on. You're obfuscating with so many silly words, with so many wacky words. Whether he called it pixels or pickles or whatever isn't relevant.
Doofusy.
What the judge said, it's not. What the judge said was shocking to me, because he actually displayed an incredibly sophisticated understanding of the pinch and zoom. Because there are a lot of tech illiterate people, even younger people, even people in both of our audiences that do think, oh, pinch and zoom, that's just like a magnifying glass. It is absolutely not. There's all sorts of software that goes into enhancing images that might be involved in a zoom. But if you want to say that there's not, you just need an expert witness on hand to testify, or you should have submitted that evidence in pretrial rather than attempted to manipulate that video in front of a jury on the spot.
Okay.
Ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal, but when you're talking about the difference between walking or life in prison with no parole has to do with how 6 pixels are going to be interpreted on a zoom, I'm sorry, but that is totally fair to say, well, I don't know.
The conversation about the effect of technology on exhibits is 100% fair. The place where it completely fell apart and the judge's incompetence on the matter became clear was that sometimes they were talking simply about still images sent from iPhone to iPhone, and sometimes they were talking about enhanced videos, and the parameters and the conversations that apply to some of those and not to others, including interpolation, the so-called logarithms, by which they meant algorithms, bicubic, nearest neighbor, etc. The judge didn't know what way was up or down and thought some of the things being applied to some of those exhibits applied to others. He was completely confused. The defense was throwing objections and conversations about this one way or the other. And these were all completely different issues, different technological questions around different exhibits. And the judge had no idea that that was going on. They were confusing email, video, images, iPhone.
Maybe we watch different things, or maybe I missed a
That must
totally
be
different
it.
version of trial.
That must be
My
it.
understanding is that this was over one specific video that the prosecution wanted to pinch and zoom. This didn't have to do with emails and all these other, it was over one specific video that they wanted to pinch and zoom. And the defense objected. And then the judge said, this seems reasonable. If you want to pinch and zoom in a courtroom, you need an expert witness to testify what information is being added. I think that's a totally fair point, especially if whether or not you are guilty or you walk comes down to how 6 or 7 pixels are interpreted on a Zoom like iPhone. I think that's a totally fair point.
You have followed. So here, okay, let me back up for 1 second. I actually think we may be getting to the end of the usefulness of this, because when I hear you say you were shocked at the judge's incredible understanding of technology, I don't know, Steven. I'm not even sure that there's a conversation to be had if you were impressed by this judge's technological comprehension. That's scary to me.
Do you think it's incorrect to say that a pinch to zoom could introduce new material into a photo?
It is not incorrect to say that in the absence of actual specific conversations. But the fact that you were impressed by the judge's technological competence is that's concerning to me.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I haven't heard the judge rule on something where it sounded like he was totally out of his element, where he didn't know what he was talking about.
Really?
If you feel like there was an earlier exhibit that was unfair, I mean, it's on the defense or the prosecution to object. If they hadn't, then they didn't. But the judge's ruling.
But now you're flopping back to you're going. It's weird because it's like.
Please don't say I'm flopping. I'm not flopping. You can.
Well,
say
you're flipping. Maybe flopping is not the right word.
Flipping or flopping. Okay. Talking very specific. So you were wrong about the pinch and zoom thing. The judge's ruling there was absolutely fair and showed an absolutely decent understanding of the technology involved. That is absolutely true. So if you thought the judge was floundering there, you are incorrect. Now, if you think there was another point that maybe I'm not aware of where you thought the judge was floundering, or if you think that mispronouncing pixels as pickles, I don't know if the judge did that or if the prosecution did that, but if you think something like that shows that you're technologically incompetent, I'm sure between the two of us, there are a million times we've mispronounced resolution or interpolation or pixel or whatever.
Dude, the guy is screenshotting text messages, creating a 10-foot long narrow ribbon that he can't even read on his phone in order to preserve text messages. And you're saying that you're impressed by the guy's technological know-how. It's outrageous.
Okay, I don't know how to respond to that. So the fact that the judge had the wherewithal to understand that a pinch and zoom could introduce artifacts into a picture, that's something that I wouldn't expect a 76-year-old man to understand. But he seemed to have a decent understanding of that, and he said that if the prosecution wanted to do that in the courtroom, they needed an expert witness. That is a totally fair ruling. If you don't believe me, talk to anybody that deals with photo or video, they'll agree. I don't know what else to say about that. If there was another time you thought he was being unfair or technologically illiterate, I don't know if screenshotting text messages is your bar for that, then you can go for it. But as
it's a pretty freaking low bar. I mean, my bar is higher. It's just, it's sort of like printing out emails and putting them in a file folder.
As it pertains to the trial, I haven't heard him say anything that's completely unreasonable in regards to technology.
Really?
Is there anything else you can think of besides, is there like a specific, because this one ain't it. This isn't it. Was there another point that I missed where he said something that was incredibly technologically foolish?
It's not a question of what he says. It's that the defense is taking advantage of the fact that he can't tell the difference between whether pinch and zoom is related to a video or a picture. The defense, listen, if you just,
you've already lost on this point. Why are you bringing this up? That was a totally fair objection by the defense that the judge sustained. Then the prosecution needs an expert witness to testify. That's totally fair. You have to have a different example than that.
The judge said he didn't actually understand. You're simultaneously saying the judge was very, very competent and perfectly understood it, and said, bring in an expert witness. But in saying that the expert witness needs to come in, he said, I'm not understanding it. You're telling me one thing. You're telling me another thing. I don't know. The guy said, I don't know. He said, I don't understand it.
Hold on. What he meant and what he was saying was in response to the prosecution.
So now you know what he meant when he said, I didn't understand it. He meant, I do understand it.
No, because what the prosecution was saying was, this is simple. Everybody has pinch and zoom on their phone. Everybody does this. That was the prosecution's argument. They were arguing in favor of it. And the judge said that he didn't have the technical know-how to know one way or another if that was true, so they need to bring in an expert witness to testify. I think that shows a perfectly like competent understanding of the complexities involved in these types of image processing environments.
You first said the guy showed an incredible understanding of the technology. Now you're saying the judge showed a great understanding of his limitation for understanding the technology. These are two different things. You're now going from he was smart enough to realize he doesn't know.
Do you really think that these are two different points, David? Wait.
Yes.
Well, hold on. Wait. Okay. Hold on. I'm curious. I'm just super curious. Do you think that earlier I was saying that the judge has an incredibly good and deep technical understanding of the intricacies?
Yes, you said you were impressed with it. You said you were impressed with his understanding.
All right. Okay. I understand. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Do you understand?
I don't think you're either not approaching the conversation in good faith, or you're trying really, really hard to just win a debate, and you're not listening to what I'm saying. But I mean, it could be either one. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to win I didn't even want to have a debate. I wasn't the one tweeting about copium. I'm no. Did you contact me or did? Hold on, Steven. Did you contact me asking to talk today, or did I contact you?
People told me in my stream.
No, but hold on, Steven. Hold on. People told me the same thing. Did you contact me or did I contact you?
I messaged you.
Okay.
After you responded to my tweet. Yeah. After I tweeted at you. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're saying the conversation you started is one where you don't like that I'm trying to win a debate? What?
No, when I say it's not that I don't mind an argument.
Okay.
It's that it doesn't seem like you're having a good faith characterization of what I'm saying.
I would say the same to you.
I think I've understood what you said pretty well. I'm restating your points back to you. I'm writing them down as you talk to me, but you keep jumping from one thing to the other or bringing up things that we previously rehashed in order to win the point. But I don't think there's any winners here. I think there's all losers. I can assure you, I have no interest in winning any point or winning any bigger thing here. I really don't care. My concern is the combination of the ease with which you seem to be triggered by some of this stuff, combined with what I see as a desire to just denounce the left and fight with everybody, to me seems like you're not really in a great place, and I'm worried about you. That's ultimately what it is. So, I mean, like, we can keep running the memes down all you want, but my problem is
what
that the
memes?
vast majority of the everything you're saying right now is a meme.
It's not a meme, actually. It's not a meme.
By misinformation. I do get triggered when people are dishonestly presenting narratives and then you claim it's just for entertainment or it's just your opinion. And I
never said that.
People are you did earlier. People can go
I never said it's hold on a second. But there's two but see you're misstating it right there.
You just said that.
So you said it was only for entertainment and it's only your opinion.
You said earlier, yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me say what I said. That's right. Let me say what I said. I said sometimes you seem to get a little more mad than it seems sensible over something that at the end of the day is someone's opinion.
Wait, you're not even addressing
the second piece of it is I never said it's only entertainment.
You're just saying you're mad over and over again. Like this is reinforcing your point. Like are you mad? Are you mad? That's what you're doing.
Am I mad, you're saying?
No. You're asking me in more words. You're saying like, you seem mad. Are you mad? That's your response to like half the things I'm saying to you.
Yeah, because it's not it's like I know a lot of people and I relate to a lot of people. And the degree to which you're just furious all the time is not normal to me.
This isn't a response to anything I've said. I am furious on the internet a lot. It's what I've done for the past 10 years. But I think that I make a lot of salient critiques to how the majority of people online seem to be covering this trial. And a lot of your coverage has fallen in line with that. That there have been unfair rulings from the judge towards the prosecution and the defense, that the trial is a farce, that he's favoring one side, that he's incompetent technologically, and that's why he's ruling on some things. And I think all of these things are just demonstrably untrue. But I mean,
right. Yeah, I guess we just disagree. It's just I don't know. The problem is like I'm sort of like I feel totally fine being like, hey, you know what? Steven Kenneth Destiny Bonnell II has a different opinion than me. He came to different conclusions than me on some things. He isn't a bad person as a result. I'm not assuming bad faith. It's like, it's just not a big deal. I'm not furious with him. I'm not tweeting copium F-bomb. Whereas you see that I could only have come to these conclusions either by lying to my audience or doing it for entertain. You know, like it's weird. That's the problem I'm having, where you
Wait,
seem.
this doesn't make sense. If it was the case that one of us was lying and the other wasn't, then it's not really an argument to say, well, one of us is cool with both sides and the other is upset if the one person that's cool with both sides is the one lying. Now, I'm not saying that is the case here, that we know that to be, obviously, because we disagree on that. But like, yeah, of course, I'm going to be a little bit more upset and you're going to not care as much if I think that you're the one that's being dishonest, which I think your tweet obviously clearly was. So, I mean, like,
I
yeah,
could just as easily listen, Steven.
Yeah.
The internet, my audience and your audience, are filled with people who, on the same basis of fact, think I'm being honest and you're being dishonest. So it's.
And I would welcome any of that discussion. If anybody wants to talk with me,
go talk to Kenny. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's just,
anybody wants to, feel free to, because I haven't found a single person that wants to talk about the facts of the case. And it seems to be like pretty ubiquitous that the people that are the most mad just haven't been watching what's been going on, or they've just been dissecting headlines.
But hold on a second. Twitter. Hold on a second. Yeah. You just said, I want to get through this point without you interrupting me.
Go for it.
You just said it seems to you that the people who are most mad haven't really been watching the case. You just conceded you're way more mad than me. By the standard you just laid out, we would have to assume you're not really watching the case, right?
I said that it seems to be. That was the whole point behind my tweet, where I was surprised because I know that you've been watching the whole case. So I didn't understand how you were saying things that were just factually untrue.
It's just weird because, like, imagine that this was about the World Cup, right?
Okay.
If I watched one World Cup game and you watched every game and you had a different opinion than me, my initial instinct would be, hey, you know what? Steven Kenneth Destiny Bonnell II saw every game and I didn't. I shouldn't immediately assume he's lying, a bad person, arguing in bad faith, or deceiving people. My initial instinct would be, he's watched much more of it. Let's see how he came to that conclusion. Your reaction to having watched parts and I've watched the whole thing is to assume I'm lying and arguing in bad faith. It's strange to me. That's unusual.
Because I've been watching parts of your coverage, and every single time you just seem to be constantly and relentlessly shitting on the judge and not understanding like what like anything that he brings up is like this is just him being biased, or the defense was saving this because of the jury deliberations. Like
that's just when I said that, I don't know if you watched when I said that on my stream. I literally said, guys, I'm just throwing this out there as like what do you think of this sort of thing? That's all it was. It's like, this isn't like, I don't, I'm bored by even having to keep talking about it. It was just like, hey, does anybody think this might be a thing? And a bunch of people in my audience go no, and some say yes, and that's it. That's all it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not a big deal.
I guess it's all just memes in the end, huh?
See, that's the thing. You then trivialize it by saying it's all memes. When I say to you, listen,
constantly trivial. It's just my opinion. It's just entertainment. Like I was just throwing it out there. Like it's just my opinion. Like you're the one that's trivialized the fuck out of your side completely over and over again. Like,
but I'm watching a trial and it's literally my opinion. I'm watching a trial and it's my opinion. I'm giving my opinion.
Yeah, but the disagreement isn't over opinions can have. You're trying to make it sound like anybody can have any opinion about anything. Right?
No, I am not. No. I'm against that type of sort of postmodernist thinking. That's not what I'm saying at all.
You're doing. Like,
no,
I walk into my apartment and I'm like, you know what? I think that somebody replaced my computer with an identical computer that's exactly like it, has all the same information. And someone's like, why do you think that? And I'm like, bro, why are you attacking me? That's just my opinion.
Childish. That's silly.
Wait, what are you talking about? How many times you said over and over again, this is my opinion, or this is just.
No, but you're angry when someone just comes to have a different opinion. It's a weird level of anger.
I'm angry about factually misstating things, like why the defense might be asking for a mistrial, or implying that it's because they're nervous about jury deliberation, or implying that it's just because
Steven. Yeah. Have you talked to the defense?
No.
Okay, so you're saying that something is factually wrong when it's just an idea. You have the idea that the defense wouldn't hold bringing the mistrial request in open court. And I said, what if they'd
already filed it?
But they didn't push the judge for the decision.
I don't think the judge had read the motion yet. I think they had the mind to file it on Friday.
They might or might not know that.
Okay.
But it's just weird when you're like, hey, your speculation is that's not something the defense would do. And I go, I wonder if the defense would do it. And somehow I'm the one who's bad because of that. I mean,
like was the defense supposed to go on Sunday to the judge's house and say, "Hey, consider our motion right now"? Like,
well, yesterday was Wednesday, right? So they gave it to him on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, I don't even know what we're arguing about.
well, like, it's funny because the judge in court literally made a statement about people like you. I think it was about this motion, where he said, people in the media are really upset that I didn't rule on this motion on Monday. And, I literally just got this and I haven't even given the prosecution a chance to respond yet.
I thought that was on the, I might be mistaken. I thought that was on the first mistrial request.
I think there was a second one that they submitted on Friday that had to do with, I think it was a mistrial without prejudice. I might be mixing these two up, but I don't think the prosecution had responded to this yet. I'm just saying, like, your narrative is so conspiratorial.
I really don't have a conspiratorial tendency. I'm very much not a conspiratorial. Like I'm. That's not my instinct. My audience, I think, knows that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever think there were points where Rittenhouse was just firing indiscriminately into the crowd when he was shooting?
No. Upon seeing the videos more closely, I would say no.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else you want to chat about? Or
I mean, listen, I think that the self-defense case on Huber is pretty obvious, legally speaking. I think that if there's a question, it's going to be about Rosenbaum. That's my prediction in terms of the jury. And I think that I would be shocked if there's anything other than just not guilty on Huber. But I think that they'll focus their debate on Rosenbaum, their deliberation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you have is my opinion wrong on that?
No, you can have an opinion on literally anything. My opinion is that the sky is blue because I think somebody put a lot of food dye there a long time ago. But I think we can have opinions on whatever we want to have opinions on. I think that's fine.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I love you, David.
Are we fighting now, or like am I like Hassan Piker now where we don't talk?
Hey, I fight with everybody. I love it. I think it's fun. I don't hate you. I think.
Hey, in all seriousness, I hope that this isn't inappropriate, but you've never mentioned being mildly autistic. You're not mildly autistic, right?
I'm half Hispanic, okay?
I'm 100% Hispanic, but that's not the question.
I don't know if your Argentinian family is the same, but when my Cuban family argues with each other, they are fucking screaming at the top of their lungs. That's what normal conversation sounded like when I would go to Miami and hang out with my family.
That's fair.
How I'm used to my family. Yeah. So when I talk with my white friends or whatever, or not that we're white, of course, because we're Hispanic.
We're Hispanic. I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah. This is like a normal conversation. I'm fine. I'm chill. Okay.
But you're not autistic.
I have no idea. I play video games. I might have developed autism. I played a lot of League of Legends, David.
Huh.
Possible.
I'm not joking around about this. It sounds like you're saying maybe you are slightly autistic.
Maybe that's just your opinion, though.
No, I don't have an opinion. I'm not. I have no opinion. I'm asking you.
I don't know, David. I'm not sure.
See, I can't tell if you're memeing now.
Seems to be a big problem in this conversation, huh?
Huh. All right. Well, listen. I mean,
not being able to read social cues is a big sign of autism.
I know. That's why I think
projecting your autism onto me. Do you think?
I think the reason some in my audience brought this up, I'm being very serious here, is that they thought that the rapid escalation and attacks were a lack of reading social cues. I think that's why someone brought it up to me.
Oh, gotcha. Are there a lot of social cues on the 180 character tweets that people are sending out? You know what, David? You know what would have fixed all of this?
Tell me.
You need more zoomers in your audience. You got to tag your tweets with the slashes at the end to get the tone tags.
Tweets? What are tweets?
Tweets?
Oh, sorry. I misheard that.
Tweet. You have to do the tone tags at the end.
All right. Well, I don't even know what that is. That's crazy.
Okay.
But
look them up, and it helps people like me understand your tone better.
So did you move to Miami?
Not yet, but by the end of the month, I probably will have.
By the end of this month?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, if you're in LA and you'll have me, I would love to get lunch in a few weeks, but it sounds like you may be gone.
Oh, just let me know when you're here and I'll have you, okay?
You're still going to be living there, aren't
maybe
you?
we can grab Hassan and he'll come hang out with us too, okay?
I plan to go to the Hassan house, actually.
Oh, shit. Make sure you have your proper identification so you don't get shot by security, but otherwise, yeah, that should definitely be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay, but in all seriousness, you'll be in LA in a few weeks still, right?
I probably will be, yeah.
Yeah, it's feeling like the end of the month for Miami might not happen.
Maybe, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, good, Steven. We'll keep in touch and let's just relax. Let's relax. Let's live together. Let's be in peace, you know?
Okay, I'm super peaceful, super relaxed, all right?
All right,
All of
thank
this
you.
so far, David, this was just all my opinion, all right? I do this for entertainment, so it is what it is, you know?
That's what I assumed, actually.
Okay. Well, hey, I love you. Stay safe. David Deepak Pakman. Okay.
All right, there it is. And say hi to Melina for me, please.
I'll definitely say hi to her, okay? Have fun.
Okay. All right, thank you. There's Steven Kenneth, Destiny Bonnell II. And wow. Wow. What do we think, guys? Anybody? I mean, I don't even know what to think. Did I lose? How many people were watching on his stream, by the way? That must, I mean, somehow we were up to 14, 15,000 viewers during that. Destiny must have a crazy audience going right now. Let's see. 1,400. Wait a second. 1,400. What about on Twitch? $3,000 on Twitch. What the hell? What's happening? What? He muted me? What does that mean? His audience couldn't hear me? What does that even mean? Why would he mute it over there? Why would he mute it? Isn't it content? I don't even get that. Yeah, I don't think we learned anything. I don't think we learned a thing from that because I'm banned on Twitch. That's crazy.